You can use it!
What's going on, ladies and gents? Jake, aka Countdown Ended, coming to you once again. I'm bringing you my better late than never AEW Revolution pay-per-view thoughts and review. Unfortunately, due to a bit of a scheduling issue with Comcast, I have no internet in the house still, so it's been fun. I missed the pay-per-view live, and I actually went and watched most of it inside of the car on my phone on yesterday, while the missus went ahead and took care of some errands. So I was finally able to catch up and see what everybody was raving about. Heard lots of great things about the show, and I couldn't wait to see it myself. A few of the things were spoiled. Unfortunately, that's what happens. But I was pretty spot on with some of my predictions, except for the main event. That was the only one that I got incorrect. I really thought that Moxley was not going to win. I thought Jericho was going to hold the belt for a bit longer. But all in all, right off the bat, I definitely want to give this show a solid 8 out of 10. There were some minor gripes. People say, "Oh, you're overly nitpicking," but for the most part, this show was just fantastic. It was a lot of fun, and it's one of those shows that didn't drag. Everything took as much time as it needed. Nothing was too quick in the sense of like a squash match type feeling. I never felt like, oh, I wanted more from that, or I didn't get enough. And I also didn't feel like, oh, that was too long, that dragged on, and I wish they would hurry up and get to the next thing. As far as match of the night goes, just off the top of my head, before we really delve into it, I might change at the end of this video, but Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, I really enjoyed that, as well as, surprisingly, Orange Cassidy and Pac. They completely surprised me, and I was very, very impressed with both outings. So unfortunately, usually when I do the countdown or I do the reviews, I'm a little more organized. I have better notes. Without having internet at the house and no cell service, I had to go to my buddies. I downloaded some GIFs and pictures and threw it all on my little fancy thumb drive here. And when I finish recording this, I'm going to go back and upload it. So I get one shot, one take, as I'm under time constraints to do this, as I got to finish the lovely liquid prep for surgery. Can't eat bananas, but I can drink them. So delicious protein shakes. Cheers. So people know, I know some people were asking, it was originally supposed to be today, but with scheduling, I'm going 9:15 a.m. tomorrow morning for surgery. So unfortunately, things are looking to be a little bit more extensive than originally thought. So seemingly recovery, I don't know if I'll be in the hospital that long, but recovery totally is looking to be a bit longer than initially anticipated. So I'm definitely not going to be around for the shows for a bit longer than I hoped, but I will try and let people know, how I'm progressing and progress and how I'm making out and what's going on. And I'll keep in touch best I can. I will have my, better half post something tomorrow when I get out of surgery to keep people up to date and let you know that, hey, I'm still here, and that the big man upstairs didn't take me yet. So kicking right off into the show itself, we went ahead and we got to see, I didn't see the pre-show. I should add that ahead of time. And I'm kind of going to be a little bit sporadic here. Like I said, time constraints and notes aside, I'm doing what I can. So we go ahead and we get Dustin taking on Jake Hager. This was a good, hard-hitting match. I enjoyed this for what it was. I didn't have high expectations going in. I did like the Jericho's bitch chant that picked up. And some people are giving Dustin crap for him going ahead and leaning in a kiss on, obviously Hager's wife. I that's kind of an old school thing. I mean, Me Too aside, I don't know why people are really getting upset. Obviously, she was a part of this. It was pre-planned. It wasn't anything that was unwanted or unwarranted. It's not a real sexual advance. It's just it's something a heel would do, granted, but these are the little things that makes AEW different than WWE with the way that they progress or tell their stories. So they're a little bit less traditional with the current product and more in line with what we used to see, a few decades back. Excuse me, got to keep drinking these fluids. So match was a solid, brute beat down between these two, hulking monsters, essentially. they had some really cool spots. You saw at one point Dustin launch Hager over the top rope, and he got some major air. And when he came down, he bumped his head and his face right on the ring steps, and it looked pretty damn nasty. He landed right in front of his wife, and she actually showed a good deal of concern. But unfortunately, in the end, Hager, using his MMA skills throughout the match, applied a standing arm triangle hold. And that's not something we see, ever. So I like the fact that it was, ingenuitive and something that we're not familiar with outside of the MMA world. And it surprised fans. They weren't expecting that to be the conclusion. So once the bell hit, everyone was like, oh, wow, that's it. This doesn't really hurt Dustin. He's towards the end of his career. Obviously, he said that he's going to go ahead and start working with QT in the future, but Hager had to win on his first outing, absolutely, and he needed to look a bit more than just Jericho's bitch, as we said. So I go ahead and give this a thumbs up for sure. Jake did look a little bit out of shape at times. He was a little winded, but I think the more he goes ahead and gets back on a regular schedule in ring, I think we'll get a bit more impressive matches from him. But good way to start the show. Next, we get Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin. These two are true stars in the making. Sammy and Darby each made each other look like $1 million. They sold each other, for each other wonderfully. Their timing was damn near poetic. They really put their bodies on the line. And we had a lot of good, crazy spots, but I wouldn't call it a spot fest because everything felt very poignant and purposeful. Nothing felt like it was unnecessary or took away from the story they were trying to tell. Right away, immediately, the match hasn't even started yet, and Darby, dives right to the outside before they can even, start the match officially. And we have this huge brawl on the outside. So, the official timing of the match is only 5 minutes, but it was close to 15 minutes with everything we got here. And, right away you see Darby Allin, bam, gets a hard landing when the match finally does start. And I appreciated that commentary went ahead and said he missed it. Oh, did he miss it? Instead of saying he didn't get all of it, we got a couple of those comments, but they acknowledged that, his foot hit the ropes, it got hung up, and he didn't execute the move like he wanted to. If that was WWE, you would just hear, oh, he hit him, but, it wasn't fully effective. I like the fact that they were honest, and we'll get into the commentary in a little bit, but those things, when they're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes, I appreciate that. And scary, hard landing, but still a thing of beauty, and the fact that they were able to recover so nicely afterwards really goes ahead and sells this match even more. So, Paul Turner did a good job in this one as well, making sure that everybody was okay. So like I said, that's about halfway through the official timing of the match, and now we get a huge destroyer, and, Darby goes ahead, goes to the top ropes, and we get just these two of them damn near killing each other once again. Sammy leaping right up, almost loses his balance, and bam, baby. Thing of beauty. They sell together and show that the move hurt both of them. Sammy goes for a pinfall, and it's a near 2 fall. Thankfully, like I said, we didn't have a bunch of constant false finishes. We had some, purposeful pins, and the table spot. Obviously, I had to get to that. My God. The 630, the rotation, the landing, everything, perfect. That is art right there. That is wrestling at its finest. You had a good contrast of hardcore and some of the new age stuff that we're used to seeing, and a bit of, great storytelling in ring with some, more classic moves as well. This match, absolutely a standout. I'm happy that Darby Allin won. The crowd went ape shit when he hit the coffin drop. And, I like the fact that he has this risk reward type mindset, because he had the match won. We saw the turnbuckle pad get removed, and Guevara, is trying to use it to his advantage, but he ends up slamming face first into the damn thing. And Darby Allin, he could pin him right then and there, but he wants to really go ahead and make him suffer. So he lands a horrific, painful coffin drop right there in the middle of the ring. The distance that he got on this was unbelievable. And, you saw him after the match. Darby tries to go after Guevara with the skateboard, and Hager comes and pulls him out so no further damage can be done. This was just one of those, big spots, but crowd pleasing, yet, so fantastic to watch altogether. I was just thoroughly impressed, and I love what we got here. Great flow for the pay-per-view so far, and I'm hyped at this point. Now we get the tag match, and I'm a bit split here because, as I said with the match before, we got so many false finishes in this match that did take away from the flow at times. This one, I mean, if you're not crazy about the new style and the 100 super kicks, it's not going to be completely for you. But then again, there were so many Easter eggs in this match and so many hidden golden nuggets that they've built throughout the years of them working together. They had a lot of, as I said, Easter eggs and moments that for longtime fans would go ahead and enjoy from, watching Being the Elite. And the crowd was extremely over for this match again. So the fact that they were able to keep the energy going in the arena really, shows how just faithful and strong the fans are for AEW currently. I feel like the Young Bucks got less of a reaction than Paige did in Omega. I feel like Paige was really the most over there in Chicago. That cowboy shit chant was so damn loud, and I love the fact that he's not a heel, but he's really leaning, in the tweener status. He spits in the face of Matt, and that gets a huge reaction. I mean, when they did have these huge moments with the big kickouts, it was great bit of storytelling. We would see things that would truly define a holy shit moment, right here. How the hell are you going to kick out of that, and you get the golden trigger and he gets a 1 count. The fans' reaction is everything at that moment. And obviously the Young Bucks, they're so damn impressive, but I feel like Omega and Hangman didn't miss a beat either. I mean, they truly destroyed their bodies in this match. And as much as I am not a huge fan of as we see in this example here, we immediately, bam, get this, but then you go right back in the ring and they're instantly recovered. I wish they would sell a bit longer, and I wish there weren't so many kickouts. But my main gripe with this match, and again, I did really enjoy it. It was a fantastic match with so much excitement. I just wish that they would, for the tag teams, if they're not going to follow the rules and not enforce them, then I wish they would go ahead and really make it so that it was a tornado tag. There was no tags. Just allow everyone to, compete in the ring at the same time, 2-on-2. Because they have the legal man in the ring, and then without anyone making a tag at this point, the opponent comes in, so now it's 2-on-1, and it's there's no 5 count. It just keeps happening time and time again, and that's one of those things that kind of continued with the night. We saw it in the Cody match, we saw it in the main event. If that's the case, then they need to make certain matches tornado or no disqualification or falls count anywhere, because it looks like the referees are playing favorites at times, like, oh, you're the CEO of the company, you're the EVP, you're the CFO, so we'll let the rules slide, and it's just not a great look. And I will also say as well, I know Joe kind of hammered this point home, but we see some of the referees being just so dramatic, and it takes you out of the moment. It really, unfortunately, causes you to not be able to suspend your disbelief because they're flipping around like ballerinas. So I wish the refereeing would kind of, find an even keel page to work on so that they can go ahead and agree on everything of how the rules should be. They should have a set standard of rules and timing. And, I know rules, you can cheat and get bent every now and again, but it seems like it's consistently, a case-by-case basis. Every match has a different rule set. So, towards the end here, the Bucks set up for the Meltzer driver, and Paige cuts off Nick and power bombs him through the table. And I was like, hot damn, what a moment. And I thought, at that point, that could have been near the end. Omega and Paige performed their V-trigger buckshot lariat combo, and we get another near fall. And I don't know at that point how you're able to kick out of that when you've been hit with so much. I mean, Matt at that point had already suffered such an ordeal, and he gets hit with so many knees to the head from Omega, and then we get, their combo finisher, and he kicks out. So Omega performs another V-trigger. He hoists up Matt, gets goes for the one-wing angel, and that's when Matt is able to slip out, talking about, Omega's got a bad shoulder at this point. That to me would have worked earlier in the match, but at this point, they have both suffered so much. We're about 24 minutes in at this point in time, and that when you go for the limb targeting and whatnot, I don't know how Matt would have been able to get out of anything when he was just hit with two of the strongest finishers in the game back to back, followed up by another V-trigger. So I mean, it's moments like that really make it feel fantastical and hard to enjoy. But obviously the athleticism and the story after the conclusion is something I enjoyed. So I know I'm a bit all over the place here, but all in all, I did enjoy the match. I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 and calling it the best tag team match I've ever seen, but if I had to rate it anything, I'd give it a 7.5. It was still fun to watch, and it was a few moments that took me out of it. I'm still not a big fan of the constant kickouts and false finishes, but the story that they're telling with Paige and Omega kind of, not being on the same page is something enjoyable. So, the aftermatch is what I really gravitated towards. We see, everybody going for the sign of respect. The Young Bucks go ahead and try and go ahead and shake everybody's hands. And Paige turns his back on the three of them, and he turns around, faces them. Then he exits the ring, and he's standing there, and he's kind of playing to the crowd a little bit. And Omega turns around. The Bucks exit the ring. And that's when, Hangman puts his hands on the ropes, and it looks like he's going to go for the buckshot lariat. And I like that the broadcast team acknowledged that, even though he didn't follow through. They're like, he opens the ropes for Kenny. Kenny walks through, but we knew it was just a second away from him going ahead and taking Kenny out. We knew it was just that close. And how much more is it going to take for him to snap and turn on his partner? So I like that Excalibur and others went ahead and really made that moment feel special by saying, oh, wow, maybe I saw something that I didn't there. Maybe something, more was going to come out of that. But I like that they played it up, and it besides the too many near falls, it was fun. So I'm curious to see where they go next, who they face, and if, in fact, Paige is even the one to turn, because we've heard, maybe it's Kenny that's the one that turned. So next, we go into the women's match, and unfortunately, there was nothing, nothing god-awful here, but nothing thoroughly enjoyable either. It was better in my eyes to start, being that, Chris Statlander could be more of an equal to Nyla Rose compared to Riho, but then you look at it, and Riho put up more of a fight. So I'm not sure why they're booking her in such a way, but they had a few moments that looked somewhat decent. I did like the finish, but I don't understand why she had to go ahead and go for the handstand. Some people did enjoy that moment. I thought it was just really pointless and silly. She escapes the top rope knee and instead just does her little handstand and taunts. I mean, right there, she could have run up and, hurricanranaed her off or kicked her and superplex something, but she has to bounce off the ropes and show that she's good with gymnastics and blow a kiss quick, and now Nyla's coming to destroy you. So, I mean, didn't make much sense to me when we see those kind of moments. It was supposed to be this grandiose, get the crowd pumped, but unfortunately they had a hard time with the placement of this match, getting the crowd involved at all, coming right after the huge tag team title match. Statlander got a few good suicide dives on Nyla Rose, but, besides a few missile drop kicks here and there, and I don't feel like we saw anything that was that exemplary. So she goes to the corner, and Statlander cuts her off finally, and, she was trying to go ahead and get the superplex, but it ended up being where she power bombs Statlander instead for the win. And what seemingly was originally looking to be a botch they turned into the finish, and it looked, pretty severe. So I appreciate that, and I do like the way the match ended with her pulling off this brutal, power bomb from the top rope. So maybe that's something she can, continually do to win matches going forward. Again, we'll see as it progresses, but not an awful match. Not great either, though. I mean, like we said, the placement was tough, and they had a few decent moments, but still nothing fantastic. Then we get into MJF and Cody. MJF is the top heel in all of wrestling right now, and I feel comfortable saying that. Jericho is a great heel, but he's still too likable. People don't want to hate him entirely. He has to really go for the cheap heat to get booed, and then people continually cheer him as well. Even when he's decimating fan favorites, Jericho has earned so much respect for his entire career of wrestling that fans don't want to boo him, rightfully so. I could see Jericho coming back in a face role eventually down the line, a few months off, just because of him losing the title. Maybe he'll take a few weeks off and then come back and do something, disavow the inner circle, because he would work great as a face. I prefer him as a heel, but there's money in both sides with Jericho. He is that damn special. So right off the start, MJF comes out getting booed out of the building, and the feel for this match, it felt next level. I was so highly anticipating this. Downstate playing Cody's entrance. Cody's entire entrance was surreal. I mean, usually he has the introduction to his theme song, where it has like the landing sound effects and the kind of choir music. And the way the stage was set up, it wasn't that much different than their normal setup, but I did like the middle square screen. It just gave this overall massive fight feel to it. So I loved Cody's entrance. It was great seeing, everyone that came out with him. Stephen Amell, was there on top of the Nightmare family. So this has to be said, though. I'm sorry. The tattoo, that's awful. I love tattoos. I like the look of the tattoo itself. I think it's just the placement. The neck tattoo on him, it doesn't look good. I know his wife even said she doesn't care for it, and that's unfortunate, but I don't, it's a personal thing. It's distracting. I just don't care for the tattoo. So that doesn't play any mind to the match, but still. So we go ahead and we get right into this feud, and Cody immediately goes for an early cover, and he picks up MJF and he just starts punching him. And that's when Wardlow starts to get involved. He pulls MJF over and says, take your time, take a breather. And I liked how the outside factors were used here. I feel like everyone was utilized properly, and they only added to the match. They didn't detract from it. Nothing anyone did, Wardlow, Arn Anderson, even Brandy, took away from the match, in my opinion. Some people said it felt a bit slow, but I thought there was so much genius in the storytelling in this match. The booking was stacked, and the way that they progressed slowly, it really felt like MJF had a plan. Even going down to targeting, Cody's toe, gets the boot off and starts biting his broken toe that he injured in the cage match with Wardlow. That sadistic sick son of a bitch is biting his injured toe. I mean, now again, like I mentioned before with the refereeing, you see some of the people on the outside getting involved, and the referee is not ejecting anybody, so that's a bit odd at times. Also, we go ahead and we see weapons being used, and that's not taken into account. So I wish this was just no disqualification right from the get-go. I mean, you've got Cody using the belt in view of the referee. I mean, watching this happen, no doubt about it. So all in all, though, the use of blood was very effective here. And the back and forth, I mean, the fans could not have been more into this match. About the 20-minute mark, we get that yay, boo, as they start exchanging punches, and all of a sudden, Cody's got it. He's going to get the win. That's it. He's got his chance here. And after everything we've been through with the fighting on the outside and Brandy trying to attack Wardlow and Arn getting involved, and then Cody accidentally takes out Arn Anderson, so that's a bit of a distraction for a few moments. I mean, the tension's just building, and we're at a palpable state of excitement here. Cody kicks MJF in the balls, and he goes ahead and just keeps it going. The referee allows him to deliver one more. So I mean, again, you're like, why is the ref doing this? But hey, it happens. So all of a sudden, we see Cody go ahead and he hits the crossroads, and then he wants to put an exclamation point on this match. So he picks up MJF and he does it again. Then he picks him up, and he's selfish now. His rage is blinding him. So he goes for a third crossroads, and MJF hits him with the Diamond Dynamite ring. This puts Cody right out, lights out. He's unconscious. He falls backwards, and I love that MJF, just opened up his shorts really quick and drops the ring back on his balls. Just right there. That's his new accessory for his nuts, and goes right for the pinfall. It was so smooth, so well executed. I almost didn't even fully catch that at first. That's how sly he was. He does certain things so that the entire arena can pick up on it, but then he does other things to make sure that no one sees, so that he really can get one over. He's just so hated, and so, as where Cody's getting all this adulation and love and praise, MJF is the pure antithesis, and I adore everything he's doing at this point. He is just a true top-level star, and I feel like he's only getting better. I love the finish. Just bam, right there with the ring. He drops it right back in the front of his shorts. It's gone, and he gets the pinfall. And the crowd does not know what to do with themselves. They are destroyed at this point. I mean, talk about a fun match, enjoyable, tension, excitement, anxiety. You don't know what's coming next at times. I feel like I'm pretty good at anticipating, this move's going to happen. Now we're going to see a spear and a DDT. And I feel like they really kept us on our toes, pun intended with that one. And they worked very hard to really, give us something special. Pac, Orange Cassidy, this had to have been the loudest reaction from the crowd all night. We got the typical Orange Cassidy shtick with his hands in his pockets and kind of being aloof. And even Pac started to do the light kicks as well. But then we saw Orange Cassidy go into this, overdrive state like we used to see on the indie scene. And, he gets the armless takedown. And it's just, more of what I was trying to explain weeks prior. I don't understand the character when he's willingly getting his ass kicked time and time again because he doesn't want to try. But at least in this match, we saw him go ahead and actually, give a damn. We saw that crazy avalanche brainbuster, and, we see, again, Pac just being the real bastard. He's got the 3 count, but he picks up Cassidy, doesn't want to go ahead and let, Mr. Freshly Squeezed be done with the match yet. So he goes up for the Black Arrow, and then all of a sudden, Cassidy gets out of there. So, again, they're able to continue the match going forward. The crowd is so into it. And Cassidy he gets a second wind. He's able to save himself, and he gets this huge DDT, and just plants him. Wow. I've watched this over and over. That was so impressive. That looked incredibly painful. My God, the landing, everything. Loved it. So, unfortunately, this is where I get a little bit upset. And one of the things we've noted from week to week is that for some reason, AEW likes to overbook certain scenarios. We have so many stories intertwined. We've got, the Lucha Bros, Pentagon and Rey Fenix, they come down and they start attacking the Best Friends. So, Trent and Chuck are getting their ass beat on the side, and unfortunately, Orange Cassidy is concerned with them, so he goes ahead and he's trying to check on his partners and his friends, and that's when Pac gets the brutalizer, and that's it, match over. So I don't know why the interference had to happen at all. We could have just seen Pac finish him off and get the clean victory here. I mean, it was clean, but in the sense of no outside mess, and it felt wholly unnecessary, and it really detracted from the ending for me of what was a stellar match, just something that was so enjoyable. And finally, we get to see Orange Cassidy try and give a damn. Then, of course, we get the main event, and what a stellar night it was so far. Really enjoyable pay-per-view. Jericho, with Santana and Ortiz, is going to take on Moxley for the AEW Championship. Moxley comes in from outside of the arena, and he goes ahead, comes to the crowd. Things are at a fever pitch at this point, and then we get a choir singing Judas on the stage. Then the actual, Jericho Fozzy version plays, and the audience sings along. Again, Aubrey Edwards is the referee here, and as I mentioned before, she's less guilty of it, but they all seemingly tend to be just over dramatic. When she does go to throw out the inner circle, it's as if she has force powers from Star Wars that knocks these guys off the apron. You see here, bam, and they fall backwards like they just got hit by, force push. She's apparently a Jedi in training that we didn't know about. And, you got to twirl and dance. And I understand getting your hands really into it, but the whole body turn, and it's time and time again. It feels ridiculous. When they're trying to make this match be as serious and straightforward as possible, they had a weigh-in, for Christ's sakes, to make this feel like it was a legitimate fight. And then you get stupid idiot moments like that. I wish that they would just stop going to the cheese well. Don't bring out the cringy things that feel silly. We go ahead and we get a great reveal, and Moxley, Ambrose here is just so damn genuinely great at when he's allowed to, telling a story. And he went ahead and he did the slow reveal here of him taking off the eye patch. And look at that, Jericho. I've screwed you the whole time. I've not been at a disadvantage. And this is where he goes and gets the win with the paradigm shifts and gets the clean pin. I was shocked that, he went ahead and was able to get the win at all. I really thought Jericho was going to win, but all in all, great match, great decision. These two, again, just, theme of the night, they really put it all out there. Both of them beating the living hell out of each other. Moxley had a decent-sized gash, from the outside, hitting the post, he said, in a post-fight interview. I like that he has his championship shirt with the spray paint Mox over the belt, with the I was there on the back. He put that on, goes through the crowd. I mean, that was a great addition as well. And seeing the way the crowd reacted, I mean, these fans were just beyond elated and excited. They just could not get enough of Moxley. So his post-match promo was funny. I enjoyed every bit of it. In hindsight, maybe they should have saved it for Dynamite. But I like what he had to say. The music starts playing. He's like, hey, what the fuck? I'm not done yet. It just, his personality and character shines through. I'm curious who he's going to face next and what we're going to get going forward. So all in all, besides a few little discrepancies and some minor things that hindered the show in very, very minute ways, I would recommend anybody go ahead and check this out. I'd give it an 8 out of 10 for me. Great show through and through. I like the way AEW is progressing, and they certainly put their best foot forward here. Go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'm sorry my thoughts were kind of all over the place. Usually I write them out, but now I got to go ahead, put this on a thumb drive, and go take it to my buddies and get it uploaded. So I do appreciate everybody going ahead and hitting that subscribe button for me. Click the like button and comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite match, and who do you think Moxley is going to face next. Go ahead and give me some of your future predictions. So, and I'm also excited that the War Games match, which they can't call it War Games, Blood and Guts, was announced as well. So that's going to be there in a couple weeks. I can't wait to see that. Guys, as always, thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great day. Stay sexy, and I'll see you soon.